glad it is a long weekend. Sorry, I'm trying to find the remote to my fan. I forgot to turn it off before I went live. There we go. I can't. Anyways, hi. I'm glad we're all here. It is such a long weekend, and I am so grateful for it. We were running a few minutes behind today because Paula, our guest speaker, is getting set up. So she will join us momentarily. And Joy is out sick. She's been sick like all week. The poor thing. I feel bad for her. And yeah, I'm drinking coffee. So, which is unusual, but I have no intentions of going to sleep tonight. I have a lot to do. So, in addition to Paula coming on, so Paula, just so you know, is one of our pathfinders, and she has been with us for a while now. She could probably tell us how long, but she's been with us for a while. And when she originally found me, it was because I was doing a live reading and she joined, and we've been together since. So it's been amazing. And so she's going to come on, talk a little bit about her growth and journey. And she's been doing readings now as well. And it's awesome. She does it like a lot. And so I thought, well, heck, we'll do readings tonight too. But we'll see how much time we have once. Oh, hi. Hi. I see you, Stephanie. Hi, Austin. So we are going to get going. I've got my little notepad here. For those of you who haven't, oh, here's a pen. Those of you who haven't been a part of like me and doing readings, I often, not always, but I often use paper to write on while I'm doing my readings. So I've got my notepad and paper for a change. And I hope you're all doing well. Let's go ahead and I'll keep my eye out for Paula. And then in the meantime, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to see I'm going to see what general message there is for everyone. And then if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Otherwise, we're definitely going to do it in the back stage area because I know you guys. Oh, actually, here's Paula. Let me add Paula 1 second. She's situating her camera. Let's see here. Paula, you're muted.
I know, because I was swearing at the camera because I couldn't get my phone set.
Gotcha. I mean, that's a good reason.
I don't have my stand. I can't find it. So it's kind of weird.
No worries.
I'll figure it out.
No worries.
How's it going?
Oh my gosh, your necklace made me think about, I was making, my crystal grid on the house, the interior of the house, or just the footprint of the house, if you will. We have had like just thumbtacked to the wall. And today I took hours, but I did all 4 corners in like wire wrap. And at the bottom of them, I put an evil eye on each of them. And now after this, I got to go and hang them back up and do the crystal grid. But your necklace just made me remember that. And I was like, oh yeah.
Woohoo.
Here you are. Okay. So I thought that today what we could do is we could talk kind of about your growth. And I was telling everyone, like, I think was it 2 years ago now that you found me? Because I was
around this time 2 years ago.
Yeah. And I had done a live reading.
Yeah. I came across you on Facebook. I was scrolling and you're the only one that's ever been live on my scroll. I was like, or my feed. I was like, what? And then it was like $9 for a question. I'm like, I can do that. And then I was working. I think I missed the next one, but then I was at all of them after that, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've done like spiritual pathfinders for over a year.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've in 2 years have just I've read more in the last 2 years, I think, than I did in graduate school. And then I thought I read a lot back then. So it's crazy.
Oh my God. I feel you so hard right now. I'm taking 4 classes and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous.
Sleep.
What?
Are you sure that you sleep?
I'm drinking coffee right now.
No way.
Yeah. I was like, I need caffeine today. And I was like telling Mike, I'm like, hey, do you want some coffee? And he was like, no. And I'm like, I'm gonna need some. And I was like, I'm gonna make myself some coffee. And he's like, okay. It's unusual, but that's okay. Well, I have to like regrid and then like I'm just it also I had okay, and you know how I feel about this. I had a tick on me. It wasn't like, oh, there was a tick. Like, no, we were hanging this big art piece and I felt something on the back of my arm. Mind you, I'm wearing like full sleeve. I'm like, there's no reason. I don't go out in the fields like in the tall grass. There's no reason I should have a tick on me. And I was like, God, what is that? And I felt something in my shirt and I pinched it in my shirt and then I pulled it up through my neck because I'm like, my shirt's like here, I'm fully covered. And I pull it out and I was like, oh, it's a freaking tick. And I'm like, getting naked right in the foyer. I'm like, check me. Are there other ticks? And so I was just like, nope. And Mike's like, okay, I'm gonna go take a shower. And then after the shower, I'm gonna clean the house like it's vacating. And he was like, okay. So I'm like, yes, I'm drinking coffee. I'm on a mission tonight to get all this done.
I was emptying my cabinets and cleaning them out and organizing things because I'm trimming down, obviously. And I was like, oh God, I just want to empty everything all at once and put it like on a table and just put back what I want to use.
Yeah.
I have off for a few days over the holiday here, so I'm going to try to get some of that stuff done.
Yeah. That's
I was
awesome.
listening to my book while I was doing it, but I couldn't find it on Audible.
I have no idea if it's on Audible.
It's not on any of them.
Oh,
I don't think it's available as an audiobook.
There's some books I've wanted to recommend to you guys in well now Fireside, Spiritual Pathfinders. Oh, okay. Stephanie says she had to move platforms because Insta keeps being glitchy. Ugh, oh well, I'm glad you're here. So it's not unusual, but there's some books I've wanted to share with you guys that I haven't because when I go to look them up, they're not even in print anymore. And I'm like, that was a good book. Dang it. And then you have that moment where I'm like, am I that old that these books aren't being printed anymore? But I was like, well, they were good. So, but you know what? Since you're here, I just this week released Fireside. Like this whole time it's been private. You've only been able to join it if like we were already associated somehow, like you were getting our newsletter or you were a current student or client. So I just released it this week. And obviously it's super exciting because we're also adding the other module where like I shouldn't say module because it's like going to be a lot of modules, but where we're doing like all the business stuff, like how to, all the mental part of building the business, but then also going into the marketing and the tech and like how to do this. And so I was just wondering if, since you're here, you could kind of talk about like your journey and growth and your experience and see what comes.
Sure. Well, I started out, my journey was somebody telling me I was a seer, and I didn't want to let them know I didn't know what it was. So when I got home, I started looking up what it was. And then that rabbit hole went into like, I felt like it was Easter because that's what rabbits do. They multiply. And there was just holes everywhere. And I was just going down one after the other. And I just wanted as much as I could find out about it. And that was actually prior to Jason passing. So he was actually aware of that. And I actually went up to get him in Atlanta and brought him back for a visit. And I was like, I needed to have somebody that was filling my bucket too. I couldn't just have people keep emptying my bucket. And he was one of those people for me. So he was kind of aware of all of the spiritual stuff that I was going on. And then he passed. So it was a reason to use that growth to get some answers and some peace for myself. And it turns out that he's just a whole lot of fun waiting by the fire for me in Arizona. And has been very, very much around and present spiritually or energetically, that I can feel him all the time mostly. And
because of that has allowed me to kind of recognize the other entities or energies that are around me too. So he was definitely a bigger part than I ever thought he would be, because he lived in Atlanta for the last 12 years, or 10 years. So we didn't spend a whole lot of time together, but he was never a person that wasn't, we were always just connected. So,
Yeah.
um, and then I became like really good friends with his mom, and it was sad because I didn't know her until he had already passed. So, but that's engaged her journey as well. I can remember when you were cleansing your house. She was like, I don't know if I could do any more of this stuff because, like, I don't want to see those things. Well, now it's kind of silly because they're there now. Like you might want to see them.
That's
So,
funny.
I had some genealogy things I was going through, so my journey started in so many different directions. But I did some ancestral things. In fact, like Russia kept coming up with my astrocartography. Siberia, the coldest spot. I was like 50 miles from this coldest spot on the planet, was where my planetary lines converged. I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna go live like 50 miles from the hottest place on the planet here, and by the end of the year, hopefully, if not sooner. So that was kind of weird, but just the synchronicities in my life in the last 2 years that have connected. It's not random, obviously, but just the amazing ways that they have let me know that my journey is where I'm supposed to be going. I have no doubt. And changing my mindset from being a human or a a human having a spiritual experience to the other way around made it really easy to just allow things to happen. So
Yeah.
I just, I'll be doing practices, and then you'll have a class and you'll tell us about the class or the practice. And I'll be like, oh, I just did that. And I did it right. And I don't even know why or how, but I know that everybody can have their own practices, and it's intention. So mine just happened to coincide. So I'm thinking we might have done this before, Jess. But if not, you're pretty good with throwing, like, you don't throw your voice, you just throw the rules. But that's been kind of not unsettling, but probably one of the oddest parts of my journey is that I do things that I've never had any exposure to, and I'm just like, oh well, this seems like it might work, because if you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to do this, well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Seems to work, and then you tell us what it is. I'm like, oh well, I did it, yay. you know
Yeah.
um, so it's nice that and with the amount of crazy and chaos in my world going on constantly, to allow for them to be able to jump in and still keep me on my journey and know that I'm not crazy, and I don't have to I don't have to continue in the chaotic realm that I live in right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that no matter, like, I don't even, people say have a dream or a goal or thought, like, of what we're going to do. And I don't. I mean, I had a very successful career as an athletic trainer, and did that for almost 20 years. And then I've been a mom for 20 years. In 2 weeks, it'll be 20 years. And I think it's time to see what happens for the next 20 years. And well, hopefully we'll see. But I have no plan or other than getting to the destination. I have no plan of how much the rest of it's going to play out, and I don't even care. I know that I'm a survivor. I can survive. So as long as you can do that and you can be good with yourself, I think that's probably the biggest part of my journey. Obviously I have to do something to financially stay afloat, which is where the whole growth comes towards getting towards marketing yourself to be able to use that. And I actually talked to my boss. I think after we do yoga at the winery on Sundays, once a month. We're going to probably do it more, maybe even every Sunday. But I said, I'd offer a quick 3-card spread for people after their yoga class if they wanted to, but I can't be working for you that day for him. He's like, that's not a good idea because they kind of go together. I was like, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Spiritual.
Longer and drink more because I'll be reading and they'll have to wait their turn.
and I've been doing cards, and I don't really extrapolate on them. I just read what it says in the book, but the uncanny accuracy of the spirits giving me the cards that are being flipped over, the people's faces are like, what? Like, we'll just go with it. Like,
Yeah.
and as the little that I know about their story, kind of, I fill in the little bits of blanks of, and that's just the healing, kind, wise person that I am. To give them that little bit, I would give them that, probably that same advice if I didn't have a card in front of me. But when the cards say the same thing I was gonna say, I'm like, oh, oh. So I other than the chaos that goes around in my world around me, I can't really say that there's anything that I wouldn't have done or I would have done differently. You know,
What do you think, like on this journey, what do you think has been the most challenging part for you to adjust to or evolve into? Like, what's been the most difficult, challenging?
time, which isn't real anyway.
I love that answer.
I don't have time to do some of the things that I want to do. Like, golly, if I had time to read charts, it'd be great.
Right?
Practice, but my job went from being 25 to 30 hours a week to being 43 hours a week. And it's just chaos all the time. But the easiest part has been not caring what's going to happen, because it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
It's divinely guided. I know that, things change, and I was kind of stuck on things early on, like, well, they said it had to be this, like, well, I had to sell the house in August. But then I've realized that it doesn't matter, and it's just going to happen when it unfolds. And, in November, we were like, yeah, you got energy keeping you here. Okay. Wait and see what happens.
Yeah. The windows, I always find that amazing. Like the windows open and you can go through, but if you don't, it's not like that's the only time. Like your path is your path and your journey is your journey. It's going to unfold either way.
I think one of the things was when you said to me, well, apparently the person that was going to buy your house either wasn't going to be able to do that or whatever. So we're just going to have to wait for the next person that's supposed to have your house. And I was like, oh, okay. And I mean, that's the easiest thing. The hardest part about that whole, like, living with abandon of, I'm going to do it, is not everybody kind of understanding it. And I get that they don't understand it, but that's probably at least my kids they're close to me, they don't. And the people I went to college with, and I speak to them, they're like, oh my God, that sounds just like you. I haven't seen you in 25 years. And that's awesome. And then you have the people like, what are you, nuts? Yeah, I am. I totally am. But I've always been that way. So what's different? It doesn't change. My mom got me a shirt when I was in 7th grade, and it said, why be normal?
Yeah.
Upside down on the shirt. So the only person that could read it was me.
That's funny.
You could read it and it would say, why be normal to me? But everybody else, it was upside down. I'm like, now I know that my mom has been passed for so long, and that so the connections I've had with her, that she got it, but she never shared that with anybody.
Yeah.
So, and I find that odd about that generation is one thing, because they would never speak of that spiritual side of things. And I think that my great grandfather, George, probably had his gifts and his issues, and that's why he took his life, because he didn't want to be a burden with being labeled or whatever. But that was in like 1918, but they still didn't talk about things like that. And, well, apparently, but my dad's sisters were doing voodoo, so don't really know about any. Like, you find these things out when you're 56. You're like, okay, didn't need to know before now, I guess.
But then there's like organizations like the Masons and the Knights of Columbus and the fraternal organizations. My girlfriend was, leads to think that they know more than they share. And I'm like, well, okay, it's like a fraternity. And then they've got like the Masons are not, the Knights of Columbus are Catholic organization. They all have their own little organizations. But I didn't get that connection when I was growing up. Like, oh, the Masons were this type of work or whatever. That there's a whole nother layer of component to their fraternal organizations, which is kind of scary. That well, there's like the Masons are huge. They're huge, and they've got secrets, and they've got why is it a secret? Why can't we know? I mean, like,
You got to join.
yeah, well, I know. Well, they don't let you. That's a whole thing. I got a friend that's he's a Mason. He's got my other buddy trying to become a Mason. He's his
Like sponsor.
sponsor. Yeah, that would be the good word for it. And there's a lot of memorization of things and texts, and I don't
just Google it. She said, just Google it.
readings, and they're like the Knights of Columbus have degrees, so they have ceremonies that they do, and there's 4 of them, and you gradually have to work towards them. Masons kind of have the same thing, and I guess that you want to have those secret things, but it's not like that anymore because the internet changes that. People will get wrong information, so why don't they just share like, hey, we're a bunch of spiritual people that are like really holding our own, or we're the other side of it, like the other side of the aisle of it, and we don't want to share that either. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And
what would you say has been if you picked one thing that was like the most amazing since we started working together, what would you say that was?
that picture.
It was pretty cool.
That was it still amazes me that was painted in 1982, and the picture that I have that matches it was taken in 96, and it was probably in it was a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, that I put them all together. So I've had so 96 was 27 years ago. 27 years to come to fruition with a picture from a woman that I didn't know until 20 years ago, that she drew it when I was in high school.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it's the same spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like having the most, and the picture being that until you told me, or until we talked about it, I was like, wow. I told my daughter, I was like, I think we're pretty badass. She goes, I don't know, Mom, not everything's exactly what you think. I said, I don't know. I don't know too many people that have a portrait of themselves from a previous life hanging over their desk. You know it, and and we determined that it's not me from a previous life. But the first time that sentence came out of my mouth, I was in the kitchen with my girlfriend, and I said, oh, well, not like every hair on my body is standing up now for like 5 minutes. My head was tingling. It's probably the most physical reaction that I had to something until we started doing sadhana. And then I started having a little bit more things going on. But
the sadhana like amplifies. Like when you actually do it regularly, it's like steroid.
I find myself that I can get to, like, you'll start telling us to sit down and get comfortable, and I'm still like doing, but I can sit down and get myself right to where I need to be pretty quickly. And that's a good thing, because then I can do it at other times a day and not have to feel like I'm taking the break. I'm just incorporating it in my daily flow.
Right? Are you ready to go backstage, or is there anything else you want to share before we go backstage?
Oh, I don't know. You just got to trust in yourself, and knowing that you have a higher self
that's there all the time too, that knows there was not an email, it was some kind of podcast or something, and it was an ad for it. And the guy was saying that 99% of our body, or 99% of our being, is not human, or not like our physical being is only 1% of what we really are.
Oh, gotcha.
So that was pretty astonishing for that volume of it. That what we do as a human is just like this little bit
Yeah.
of our experience, and just being open to it and know that they're gonna let you know what you need to know, I guess, and trust in yourself that they're gonna let you know what you need to know.
Yeah, that's true. That's such a good advice.
As far as the interactions with society, it's been pretty awesome being able to share things with people, and they're like, really? And I'm like, really? Really, really, it happened, and I was like, I can't make some of these things up, but then they'll have just as much of a something that they've had questions about, or something. So I find my tribe growing and people being more interested, shockingly, like people are more open to the conversation. Some of the things that I tell them that they should be like, what? They are like, they buy it. They're right away. They're like, okay, I get it. I had a girl the other day, when I was doing the card readings at the winery. She's like, I don't believe any of this. But she was agreeing with everything that I was saying, or that it was telling this girl to do. And she's like, but I don't believe any of it, because it's either heaven or hell. Or I said, okay, well, I've kind of been to purgatory and back. So, like, not just hell, I said, that's a whole story, another story. And then I just gave her a couple little things that were facts, like, you can't argue with quantum physics, which there's so many things that you can, if you have not had all that exposure, so many things that you learn. It's like it was like cliff notes for being spiritually awakened.
Yeah.
Because the numerology, you can't discount the numerology, and the universe is run by numbers, but then the numerology flows into the tarot and astrology. And then you're saying, okay, well, consciousness is unconsciousness is consciousness, because if you think about one, then that makes it conscious. And
so you know what's very funny about that is, when I was little, I remember keeping it to myself too, because I was like, something must be wrong with me. When like, we're talking like 5-6 years old, everyone would say the name of the color and I would give it a number. I'm like, that's 6. And they're like, no. I was like, no, it's 6. It's 6. And it was just so funny because, like, now I'm like, I remember when I kind of was just like, that's why I just associate everything with a number and a sound. It's always that vibration, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the highlighter in our intuition thing.
Yeah.
Get those, sometimes I get them right, but the first 2 flowers, I got those spot on, and I'm like, yeah, it's pink again, but I'm not going to write pink because everybody's going to, like, everybody wrote green and blue. I'm like, I don't think it's that. And then it was pink. And I was like,
I love how you say pink again, because that's totally how I felt. I was like, I asked Joy I said, every week we're on the phone and I'm like, grab a highlighter. Can you take a picture of the highlighter? And she's like, sure. And I'm like, and she doesn't tell me the color, nothing. She just does it. And she's been out this week. So she posted that and then has been gone, right? And so, and hopefully she'll be back next week. She's super sick. Like, I was like, dude, you need to go see a doctor. Like, you're that sick now. But it was really funny because I was like, I went to go post that it was a pink highlighter. And then I was like, she's only posting pink pictures. And I was like, and I go, wait a second. And I scroll back and I was like, yep. Yeah, because she'll just tell me like, "There's this beautiful flower." I'm like, "Don't tell me the color." She's like, "It's so pretty. I just have to. I'm going to use this one." And I'm like, "Okay, you do you." And then I'm like, "Well, I grabbed a highlighter to make it something different." Like, but it's Joy. She loves
It
pink.
was
Can
a
you
trick
tell?
question. It was a trick question.
Yeah, yeah. Stephanie says, "I keep telling myself it can't be pink, right?" All right, let's go backstage. Ready for that?
I'm gonna, yeah,
Okay,
I'm
let's
ready to start my fire because I'll
okay,
have
cool.
that once we're on Zoom.
Yeah, we'll hop in the Zoom.
It'll be,
Thanks for sharing and being here.
it'll be a real fireside.
Yeah,
Thanks for exploring, everybody, because the journey's been great, and I wish more people would have the ability to be. I am fortunate that I'm at the spot that I am in my life where my kids are going to be not having to endure my journey with me, and I'm comfortable enough with who I am and that I can survive and execute the journey because not everybody could just go out and live in the desert by themselves. Be like Jesus. See you. You know? But it kind of sometimes feels like that, like the seclusion or the is going to be part of it. And I know you've told me before that my energy is going to be crazy um, once I don't have all the chaos around me, which is kind of exciting. But trusting yourself, I think, would probably be my best recommendation. Know that they're good. They got your back. They might throw a curveball in there every now and again, but they got your back for the most part.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as you practice it and hone in your connection and just continue to grow and expand, it never ends. It just gets more and more intense. It's awesome.
I was having a conversation with Sturka the one day. I was like, oh, well, if you've been around me my whole life, you probably get my sense of humor and you probably enjoy it. So, I'm not going to just talk to you like I ended it. It's like, what do you think of this joke kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah. That's funny.
I know it's, I tell people all the time, I talk to more dead people now than I like talk to real people, and it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. The conversations are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To hear them, it'd be a lot easier. Or,
Oh, I totally have a story for you when we go backstage. It happened last night.
all right, I'm gonna get my fire started. I'll see you guys there.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night and an awesome holiday weekend.
See ya.
Bye.